Pope Francis because he was a person who loved all people. He went beyond the borders of the church and he embraced all people of all walks of life, non-Christians, non-Catholics, and of different categories. He was a friend of so many. So it is a great sorrow for all of us in the world today. His Holiness Pope Francis leaves us with, I should say, 3 legacies. First, he was a man of great love and compassion, which reveals his great love for God, and it is in this love of God that is the source of life of the neighbor. And for this, he was very much concerned for peace, and he was concerned for the vulnerable, the poor and the vulnerable, and that's why he was pleading for peace everywhere. In particular, on the African continent, the visits that Pope Francis made in Africa were visits in those countries which are troubled with war and violence. The first visit in Central Africa, pleading for peace. Visits in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, pleading for peace. And in South Sudan, we were touched by the images of Pope Francis kneeling and kissing the feet of the leaders of the conflicting parties in South Sudan, pleading that they become aware of their brotherhood and live in peace. This shows the great love he had and compassion for the people. The second legacy is evangelization. Pope Francis had called the church, reminded the church that his first mission is evangelization. And in Predicate Evangelium, we structured the dicasteries in which the dicastery of evangelization, which combines evangelization in the north and in the south, in old Christian countries and new Christian countries that all need evangelization. For this also, he thought very much of Africa, because Africa is still a land of evangelization where there are still people who have not had the chance to know the gospel of Jesus Christ. The third legacy is education. When he published Global Compact of Education, his concern was to see that the heritage of faith in education, of peace and brotherhood, can be transmitted to the young generation in preparing for the future of our world today. Particularly for the African continent and the church in Africa, we elaborated African Compact of Education in Kinshasa in 2022. And 2023, we went to present it to him. And he revealed to us that actually the inspiration of publishing Global Compact of Education was inspired by an African proverb which says, to educate a child, it requires a whole village. It is from this proverb that he got the inspiration of Global Compact of Education, and he encouraged us very much to invest in education, because the continent has so many. He was very much pained by children who have no access to education. He told us there are 250 million of young people in the world who do not have access to education today, and the church should work upon it to to make available to all young people education. This is a very important legacy, and education also is an approach of evangelization of today that will also have impact on the Church of tomorrow.
Cardinal Antoine Kambanda of Kigali, Rwanda, the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja in Nigeria, Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama, has also added his voice to the global tributes pouring in for the late Pope, as we hear in the following report by Delphine Asu.
Reflecting on the late Pontiff's admirable attributes, Archbishop Kaigama observed that humanity was the Pope's constituency.
Pope Francis was a friend to Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus. They had no boundaries, they had no barriers. Everybody mattered. Humanity, I would say, was his constituency, a moral authority. I would say somebody who was a moral compass, because he spoke on moral issues, ethical issues. He identified with the poor and marginalized and the downtrodden. So he was a great leader. In the last 12 years has been